The rain was relentless, a drumming so fierce it felt like the sky was trying to beat its way into my cab. For hours, all I'd seen was the black ribbon of highway and the hypnotic rhythm of my windshield wipers. I'm Michael Carter, just another trucker trying to make a deadline, pushing my rig through the dead of night. Then, out of the stormy darkness, a sign flickered into view. "Welcome to Ash Hollow." I checked my map. There was no Ash Hollow. No town for another 100 miles, but my eyes weren't lying. Past the sign, old-fashioned streetlights cast a weak yellow glow on a town that looked like it was ripped straight out of a 1950s movie. Vintage cars, gleaming under the rain, were parked along streets that were eerily empty. A single neon sign, "Diner," buzzed and flickered, a lonely beacon in the quiet gloom. Curiosity, or maybe just the need for a hot cup of coffee, pulled me off the main road. I parked my rig and stepped out into the strange silence. The air was heavy, thick with the smell of rain and something else, something old. It was a town holding its breath. The streets were deserted. No kids playing, no one walking their dog, just the sound of my own boots on the wet pavement. It felt wrong, like a movie set after the crew had all gone home. The diner was the only place that showed any sign of life. The bell above the door chimed softly as I entered, a sound that seemed too loud in the oppressive quiet. Inside, a woman sat alone in a booth, her face partially hidden by the shadows. She looked up as I walked in, her eyes wide with a look I couldn't quite place. Fear, maybe? Or was it a warning? She was the only other person there. I slid onto a stool at the counter, the red vinyl cracked and worn. I ordered a coffee I didn't really want, just to break the silence. "You're not from around here," she said, her voice a low whisper. It wasn't a question. "Just passing through," I replied, trying to sound casual. "Thought I'd wait out the storm." She gave a small, sad smile. "You should leave," she said, her gaze intense. "Before midnight. Nothing is what it seems in Ash Hollow. After midnight, the town changes." Her words hung in the air, cold and heavy. I wanted to ask what she meant, but a sudden dread kept my mouth shut. I glanced at the clock on the wall. It was 11:45. A wave of unease washed over me. I told myself it was just a strange local trying to spook the outsider. But her warning felt too real, too urgent. I finished my coffee, threw some cash on the counter, and headed for the door, the woman's words echoing in my mind. As I stepped back outside, the rain had slowed to a drizzle. The town was still quiet, still empty. I started walking back to my truck, my pace quickening. The clock in my cab read 11:58, just a couple of minutes to go. I fired up the engine, the rumble a comforting sound in the dead silence. I was ready to put this strange town in my rearview mirror for good. Then, as the clock ticked over to midnight, everything changed. Every light in Ash Hollow, the street lights, the diner sign, the lights in the vacant windows went out at the exact same moment. The town was plunged into absolute darkness, save for the weak glow of my own headlights. A deep primal fear took hold of me, and then I saw them. Figures started to emerge from the doorways, from the alleys, from the shadows between the buildings. Dozens of them, then hundreds. Men, women, children, all dressed in the same dated clothes, all moving with a slow, deliberate shuffle. They filled the streets, a silent, shuffling army. Their faces were blank, their eyes empty, staring straight ahead. They didn't speak, they didn't look at each other, they just walked. A silent, endless parade of ghosts. Panic seized me. I threw the truck into gear and slammed my foot on the accelerator, desperate to get back to the highway. But when I reached the edge of town where the road should have been, there was nothing. The highway was gone, vanished. In its place was just an impenetrable wall of dark, ancient forest. The road in was gone. There was no road out. I was trapped. Days bled into a terrifying new reality. The cycle was always the same. By day, Ash Hollow was a ghost town, empty and silent under the sun. I could wander the streets, a lone prisoner in a forgotten era, but as soon as midnight struck, the town would come alive with its silent inhabitants, their slow, methodical march a constant, terrifying reminder of my confinement. I was a ghost in their world, and they were the ghosts in mine. I tried everything. I screamed at them, tried to block their path, but they simply walked around me, or sometimes through me, as if I wasn't there. Their silence was more horrifying than any scream. One day, desperate for answers, I broke into the old town hall. The air inside was stale, thick with the dust of decades. In a back office, I found a bulletin board covered in faded papers. They were missing person posters, but they weren't from the 1950s. I saw a poster for a family that vanished in 1963, another for a college student who disappeared in 1973, a couple from 1983, a backpacker from 1993. Dates were all exactly 10 years apart. The last poster was from a decade ago. I felt a cold dread crawl up my spine as I realized the horrifying truth. Ash Hollow wasn't just a town. It was a trap. A trap that appeared every 10 years on this very highway to claim new souls. And I was its latest catch. The people who walked the streets at night, they were the previous victims trapped in this endless silent purgatory. My search for answers became an obsession, a frantic race against my own sanity. If the town was a prison, there had to be a secret. There had to be a key. I started noticing things I'd missed before. Strange symbols carved into the door frames of the old houses. Patterns in the way the silent people walked their nightly routes. It was a language I couldn't understand, but I knew it meant something. One afternoon, I was exploring the basement of the old diner, the place where it all began. Behind a stack of rotting crates, I found it. The wall felt different, hollow. Prying away the loose bricks, I uncovered a dark, gaping opening. A tunnel. Cold, damp air smelling of earth. And something else, something metallic and wrong, wafted out from the blackness. This was it. This had to be it. The secret wasn't in the town. It was beneath it. The tunnels were the town's dark heart, the source of its power and its curse. The missing posters, the 10-year cycle, the silent walkers, it was all connected to whatever lay hidden in the depths below. A part of me screamed to turn back, to stay in the familiar terror of the town above. But another part, the part that refused to become another silent ghost, knew I had no choice. With a trembling hand, I flicked on my flashlight, its beam cutting a weak path into the suffocating darkness. Taking a deep breath, I stepped out of Ash Hollow's sunlit prison and into the unknown horrors of the tunnels below, ready to uncover the truth or die trying. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more stories like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel.